What is good? It's your boy Ty back here with another video, and in this video today, guys, we're going to be going over and ranking some of the best cards in NBA 2K23 MyTEAM on a tier list. So basically, this is about, I think it's a little less than 60 players, but I try to get like the top 9 or 10 at each specific position. But I did play favoritism for the most recent cards that may not have been on another tier list, such as like a guy like John Wall, Justin Jackson. I want to show, how I feel about them because they haven't been on a tier list for their specific positions because they are somewhat new. So just kind of keep that in the back of your minds. If maybe your favorite player missed the tier list, maybe I forgot about them, or maybe I'm just not quite that high on them. So just kind of something to think about as we do dive into this tier list today. Now, we're going to start it off with Alfred Sengun. And honestly, guys, Sengun is really, really solid at the point guard position. But when it comes down to best cards in the game, I don't think I'm A or S tier on the card. Again, where would he rank on my point guard list? That's the question I've got to ask. And I'd probably say 3, 4, 5, and so I'm gonna throw him at C tier. That's not me saying Sengun is bad. That's not me saying you can't run him, because I know a lot of people are running Sengun and having some success with him. For me, it's more of the whole thing of, do you personally love the card or not? And for me in Sengun, it's not that I don't like him, I just don't think I love him. I don't think he is that over-the-top good. His release to me is maybe that little bit on the slow side of things. And so for me, I do think C tier is the right spot for Mr. Sengun. Next up, Ben Simmons. And this is a controversial one, right? Because some people would be higher on Ben Simmons. Some people are going to like Sengun more. I like Ben Simmons more. And honestly, guys, I still think Ben Simmons is a top 1 or 2 point guard in the game. And I know it's going to be an unpopular opinion, because a lot of people that can't necessarily shoot with Ben, or if they haven't used Ben, they're not going to know about that. But Ben Simmons to me is like what is he, 100K right now? He's an absolute steal for that price. He's one of the best defensive players in the entire game. And offensively, I'm going to say it, I think he's underrated. Because I feel like offensively, people see Ben Simmons, they're like, oh, the card can't shoot, he's a liability offensively. Well, kind of in that same thought, he's really tough to stop on that offensive end of the court if somebody knows what they're doing with him. If they're running two-man, or if they just continue to dunk the ball with him, he can be really, really tough to stop. So that's why Ben Simmons, to me, is easily A tier, and we might, at the end of this video, have him at that GOAT tier. Ben Wallace up next. He's not, I like him as an overall card, but when we're talking about the best of the best overall cards in my team right now, I think Ben Wallace is D tier. And again, that's not me saying Ben Wallace is bad. These cards are all really great, but he's only 6'9" at the power forward position, only has a 74 3-ball. For as much as I like Ben Wallace, the card's not perfect. He's really good. Card is not perfect. He belongs in D tier for me. And I'm sorry, Unbeatable Jacob, if you're watching this, but that's where Ben Wallace belongs, at least for me personally. Dark Matter Bill Russell, he's another one that could possibly go into that GOAT tier. I really do like the card. I like his release defensively. He's an absolute menace. He's just a prototypical Bill Russell in my team, right? The one thing about him is the fact that he can play small forward, where normally you just have to play him at that power forward position. That helps him out quite a bit, because again, at the power forward position, if you want to have the most success, you're running Taco Fall right now. It's just that simple. But Bill, still really solid in my team, and I'm a pretty big fan of what Bill Russell can give you on the court, especially defensively. Again, offensively, that's one thing, but defensively, that's where he's going to be at his best. Bob Nedelecki, I'm biased, okay? I still run it, but that's just because I am super biased, and just because I don't want to spend up on Taco. And I've had Bob forever, and my Bob has, mid-20s Hall of Fame badges. But objectively speaking, is Bob Nedelecki better than Ben Wallace? They're on that same level. They are. And it's crazy, because on my Xbox account, again, I run Bob Nedelecki. So it's kind of weird that I'm putting him at D tier, but objectively, that's where he's at. I absolutely love his release. Has one of the quickest and smoothest releases in the entire game. But again, I would just be kind of a hypocrite to put him any higher than D tier, just because objectively, in my Ben Wallace gameplay, I said, you know, he's at same level as like a Bob Nidelecki, and so I can't put Bob higher. Brandon Ingram, D tier. Again, a card, he probably wouldn't even, I'm going to be honest with you, probably wouldn't be on this tier list if he didn't come out in the most recent drop. I don't like Brandon Ingram. There have been times in my team, you know, when they made Brandon Ingram 6'9", in which I've liked the card, but he's only 6'7", and I don't see it with Brandon Ingram. I know a lot of people might love the card. A lot of people really, you know, might be using him as their primary ball handler and having some success with him, and that's awesome, right? If you're able to do that, man, more credit to you. But for me specifically, and again, this is just my opinion, so don't get mad at me. I just don't. Why is he really even that hyped up? I mean, he's only 6'7". He has 0 Hall of Fame defensive badges. I just don't really see it with Brandon Ingram, and again, that's just me and my personal opinion. I actually, during my pack, basically talking about how the packs are a scam and nobody's opened them, and I'm glad nobody's opened them. But basically in that video, I actually pulled Brandon Ingram, but he sold for like 40K, so it wasn't even anything crazy. Dark Matter, Chris Bosh up next. I'm going to go B tier with Chris Bosh. I actually really rate Chris Bosh pretty highly at that power forward position. And I mean, if you don't know me, you wouldn't know that, but he's just expensive, and that's my whole thing. If I'm going to spend up on the power forward position, it's not on Chris Bosh. Although I like Chris Bosh, right? I think the card at the power forward position is a card you can run and have a lot of success with. It's just if I'm going to spend up on the power forward position, it's not going to be with Chris Bosh. Clyde Drexler. Clyde's an interesting one, and here's why. I still to this day have not used Clyde, so I can't sit here and give you guys an opinion on him, like an honest opinion, because I honestly don't know. But what I would say is this. If you look at Clyde's stats, badges, and animations, I think you can make the case he's the second best shooting guard in the game. Now, would I rate him there? No. But I think you can honestly make that debate. And so for me, if I'm not putting Clyde in at least A tier, that just wouldn't be doing him justice, because he's got a good release. He's got pretty good dribble six. He's 6'7". Can do it all. Dunking wise is incredible. Danny Ferry up next, and this is going to be unpopular, but I don't really care. He's B tier, okay? I like Bill Russell at the small forward position over Danny Ferry. Now, yes, Danny Ferry is free, so if you get Danny Ferry, run the card. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Whenever I play against Danny Ferry, nobody can even green with the card. Like, I don't know if it's because of the Carmelo upper or what, but I'm not really worried about it when Danny Ferry gets an open shot. Now, if it's wide open in the catch and shoot, that's different. But like, people try to move off the screens and it'll just say open, and most of the time, it's Brick City. I don't know if it's the same way for you guys, but I promise you, he doesn't really scare me too much because a lot of people cannot get his release timing down. So that's just for me and Danny Ferry why he's at B tier. Draymond Green at the point guard position. I'm going to throw him. I'm going to go D tier. And again, I like Draymond Green. I've used him on my No Money Spend a little bit. But my whole thing is this. Offensively, if you don't and again, I'm not talking about these cards fully badged. If you don't badge Draymond Green up, it's tough because he doesn't have handles for days. He doesn't have, hyperdrive, those key badges. And so it's hard to really create with him. Meanwhile, on the defensive end of the court, he is really good. And everybody's going to know and understand that. But unless you're going to give him those badges, I feel like putting him any higher than D tier is crazy. D Wade is F tier. And I know a lot of people are going to get mad at me. But what does Dwayne Wade give you on the court? He is 6'4". His release is slower than molasses, man. I mean, the card is bad. Let's call it what it is. Dwayne Wade is not good in my team. If they would have improved and given him a cheesy release, then maybe I could make the case for him. But the card is not good. And again, that's not me slandering D-Wade. It's just me being honest with you. If D-Wade was good, I'd tell you. But he's not good in my team. Evan Mobley up next, and I like Evan Mobley. And I know you guys are going to be like, what, Ty, in your gameplay you said Evan Mobley's release is slow and all these things. Okay, I did. But I'm gonna put it like this for you guys. I'm gonna put him at C tier. But Evan Mobley is a card that, because he's not better than Ferry, not better than Bosh. But Evan Mobley is a card you can run and not really have to worry a whole lot about, because he's gonna play a ton of defense, and that's really what matters. Like, I get it. Offensively, you guys are gonna be like, his release is slow. Like, he can't move that well because he's 7 feet tall. All these things, and I get it. And honestly, I agree with you. Mobley on the offensive end of the court leaves a lot to be desired. He just does. It's that simple. And if I didn't say that again, I'd be lying to you guys. He leaves a lot to be desired. But defensively, at 7 feet tall, he is absolutely incredible. James Harden up next at this stage is D tier. I mean, look, offensively speaking, if we're not talking about defense, offensively speaking, Harden, you can make the case is one of the best offensive point guards in the entire game, okay? You can make that case. And honestly, I think he probably is. But the problem with that whole debate is, well, what about defense? Like, if you're just talking about the offensive side of the ball, you're basically saying defense doesn't matter. Harden's 6'5". I don't even know if he has any Hall of Fame defensive badges. His stats are very mediocre. I mean, Harden on offense is very nice. He's very tough to stop if you know his release. But it's the bigger issue, right? It's the issue of, well, there is two sides to the ball. And on one of them, Harden just, I mean, again, he just leaves that little bit too much to be desired, in my opinion. Next up, guys, Dr. J. Call me crazy. I want to put Dr. J in B tier. And I know people are going to be like, what, Ty? B tier? Dr. J is a card that will always have a special place in my heart. Because the game is ran by running and dunking the basketball. That's how the game is played. That's how people have success playing the game. And Dr. J is still one of the best shooting guards in the game at that. He gets the ball, you run to the basket, you dunk the ball. He's nearly impossible to stop. And honestly, guys, if I'm you guys and I grinded for Dr. J, you don't need the new shooting guards, right? You don't need, T-Mac's different, but after T-Mac, you don't need the Clydes of the world. Just run Dr. J. Vince Carter up next, and I guess I'm going to put Vince Carter higher than Dr. J, although I don't really want to. Carter is objectively like one of the best shooting guard. I got to put him at 9. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this, okay? Because I can't, people argue Vince Carter as the third or fourth best shooting guard in the game. And because of that, he's got to be A tier. He just has to be. You know, again, you don't have to necessarily love Vince Carter, but you got to at least respect him, right? Kuzma base, which I got to be honest with you, that his Kuzma base is a little bit slow, okay? So I'm just going to be honest and tell you guys that. His Kuzma base, to me at least, is a little bit slow. But even with that, I still do think he's A tier. I think, you know, with what he's done and how good he is, I still do think the card is deserving of A tier. But Dr. J definitely moved up to B tier. Kobe Bryant, I'm going A tier. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, Ty, you just don't know how to use Kobe. That's the most popular comeback I hear for me not having Kobe Bryant as like S tier or a top 10 card in the game. You just don't know how to use him. Look, okay, I get it. You guys might be better with Kobe. But Kobe is not comparable to T-Mac. And so at the end of the day, these cards are all A tier. But when we talk about a GOAT tier card, that's Tracy McGrady. There's not going to be that many players in GOAT tier, but Tracy McGrady is one of them. Why? Okay, let's talk about why Tracy McGrady is a GOAT tier card. Offensively speaking, he is absolutely incredible. Defensively speaking, the card is one of the most underrated cards in the game. Because defensively, you guys got to hear me out, okay? He is 6'8", with nearly perfect defensive stats, has a few Hall of Fame defensive badges. What more can you ask for, out of a card, right? I mean, he's 6'8" at the 2. He's, I'm not going to say he's better defensively than Scottie Pippen, but as an overall card, he's way better than Scottie Pippen, okay? Because offensively, he's the best card in the game. And defensively, he is still really, really good and really underrated. T-Mac, GOAT, probably the best overall card in the game. Rudy up next. I really want to put him at A tier, but I got to put him at B tier. It's just not right putting Rudy at B tier at the same tier as Dr. J, though, because that's just not right. That does not do it justice. But I don't know how else to do it, because my whole thing is this. Now, Rudy's got to be A tier. He's got to be A tier, and I don't like where this list is going. I might have to move some players, down like Clyde, but maybe even Vince. But my whole thing is I can't fix it in any way, shape, or form, because these cards all are deserving of their tiers. And so it's got to be what it's got to be. Maybe I'll have to move, Clyde and Vince down and then move Dr. J down. But for now, I'm going to leave it as it is. MPJ up next. I mean, at this stage, I'm going to go D tier. Look, I know there's going to be people watching this video that's like, Ty, you just don't know how to use MPJ. Look, I've used MPJ on my No Money Spent since the card came out. But he's objectively D tier. Like, objectively speaking, I've used him and haven't loved him. Rudy is way better. He's B tier. Say what you want. Jonathan Isaac is B tier. Jonathan Isaac, is he as good as Danny Ferry? Probably not, but he's on the same level, okay? I mean, again, I know a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but Jonathan Isaac is really, really good. The problem with Jonathan Isaac is we've just seen a new card that's just a better version of him. Dark Matter Anthony Davis up next. And I feel like I've got to put him at A tier. I don't love Anthony Davis, but again, I feel like he deserves A tier, although I don't love the card. I think there's a lot of power forwards. They can do what AD can do for way cheaper. And so that's the problem I'm having with Anthony Davis. But the card still is really good. And I mean, we need to respect him, okay? I'm going to put him at A tier, but I just don't love him or the release. Kristaps Porzingis, second person in our GOAT tier, okay? I'm not going to put a lot of people in GOAT tier. KP deserves it. He's 7'3", an absolute marksman from 3. And honestly, guys, KP is, I'm going to say, a top 5 or so card in the game. He is. Now, is he the best power forward in the game? No. Is he the best center in the game? No. And so that's what makes things difficult, right, when we talk about these GOAT cards. But he is so complete. Defensively, one of the best power forwards in the game. Offensively, don't even get me started. His release is incredible. Nearly impossible to stop. Can attack the rim. I mean, he's just incredible all the way around. Definitely deserving of GOAT tier. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. Kareem is A tier. Give me Kristaps Porzingis over Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And I know that's going to be unpopular. I know people are going to hate me for that. But that's just my truth. Okay, that's my truth. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to move AD down. I'm going to move Rudy down. I'm going to move Vince down. I'm going to move Clyde down. I'm going to move Dr. J down. I'm going to move some people down. Because we've got to make A tier more of the elite tier. We just have to. Because if Kareem's going to be there, it's got to be some elite company with him. But I can't sit up here in front of you guys and put Kareem at the same tier as KP. I just can't do it. Because I definitely like KP more by quite a lot. And so, again, for me, this is my list. If I like KP more, if I think KP is a GOAT and Kareem's not, it's what I'm going to have. Again, a lot of people are going to argue that Reem is better than KP, and that's fine. You can have your own wrong opinion, but I know what I see, and KP's release is way better. He's taller, just overall the better card. D-Rob, A tier. Look, I like D-Rob, and I'd honestly just tell you guys out there, just get D-Rob instead of just, locking in for that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But he's not as good as KP. Again, and I like D-Rob. It's just not as good as Kristaps Porzingis. It's the way it is. I don't make the rules on things. It's just the way it is. D-Rob is A tier. Greg Oden, I like Greg Oden, but he's B tier. And I'm going to have to, AD is A tier. I'm going to move AD to A tier because he deserves that. Greg Oden is B tier. I mean, it is what it is. His player model is elite, but outside of that, I mean, again, you can watch my gameplay. I played pretty good with Greg Oden. But objectively speaking, he's B tier. I mean, it's the way it is. Jokic up next. I'm going D tier. And I know a lot of Jokic fans are out there saying, Ty, what? Jokic is really good. He's my favorite power forward in the game. Okay, cool, then go use him. I'm not telling you guys that you can't go out there and use Jokic. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm saying is when I've used Jokic, I'm not that impressed with him, and I would much rather have a guy like Evan Mobley who's going to give me so much more defense than a guy like Nikola Jokic on the court. Now, again, that's my opinion. If you want to say I'm wrong, say this and say that, okay, fine, that's cool. But this is my opinion. This is my stance, and I'm just not a big Jokic guy. E. Jinlian up next. For this stage of my team, he's D tier. I mean, and I know a lot of people love the card. And I ran him for about as long as anybody. But there comes a time where all good things come to an end. And I think E's time is done with. And again, I'm not trying to sit here and slander the card. I'm not trying to sit here and say if you use him, you can't compete at the highest level. I'm just saying his time is over with. I mean, it's ended. You can't sit up here and say he's a top 3 power forward in the game anymore because that would just be simply wrong. You can still like the card. You can still use the card, but he's just not that best level in my team. Dino Raja, I'm going to throw him at C tier right there with Evan Mobley. You can make the case Mobley's better. You can make the case Dino's better. To be honest with you, they're both C tier. They're both really solid options at their respective positions. Purvis Ellison up next. He's going A tier. I really like Purvis for Ellison, and I really rate the card highly. And I know it might, I don't know, a lot of people probably do like Purvis, but I know it might not be the most popular opinion in the world. Card is outstanding. I really do rate Purvis highly in my team. Really good release. Really solid overall card. Ed Pickney up next. Now, here's a difficult one. Some people in the community are saying he's a top 5 small forward in the game. Now, do I believe that? No. Do I think the card's really good? Yes. He's going to go B tier. For a free card, it's going to be tough to beat Ed Pickney. Okay, that is true, but people have really gassed him. I mean, Justin Jackson, I'm going to go C tier. Supposedly somebody in the community, not naming names, said that Justin Jackson is a budget teammate. They're completely different options. They're completely different cards. Justin Jackson is really good for a free card, but again, he's just not that elite level. Pistol Pete Maravich, I'm throwing him at B tier, okay? If you went and you grinded for Pistol Pete Maravich, you got a really good point guard in my team. A guy that I think is better than Şengün. I think he's better than Draymond. I think he's better than Harden. The big thing is he's a 17-hour grind, and he's just ultimately not worth that. LaMelo Ball up next. A tier for LaMelo Ball. Card is really good. You can make the case he's a GOAT tier point guard. To me, he's on that Ben Simmons type level, right? You can make the case either one of those cards are better than the other one. Both of them are deserving of A tier. Magic Johnson, people can hate me all they want. He deserves A tier. Why? Because I still run the card and I still think he is that great type of tier in my team. Say I'm a Magic stand, I am, but he is really, really good in my team. Grant Hill up next. I'm going to throw him at B tier. Look, you can make the case Grant Hill is your favorite shooting guard in the game. He's just an average shooting guard at this point. Gervin, B tier. I mean, objectively, Gervin is really, really good. The problem is, I just have bias against Gervin because I know how much it costs to grind for Gervin, grind that collector level. And trust me when I tell you, it's not cheap. Giannis Antetokounmpo, I'm going to go A tier with Giannis. Look, the card is 6'11" at that small forward position. That's all you need to know, honestly. I mean, I can't anymore. He's B tier. I mean, I can't make the case he's as good as Bill Russell at the small forward position. I just can't. He's B tier. Jimmy Buckets. Ooh, this is a tough one. Because if there was a GOAT point guard, it would be Jimmy Butler. So I'm going to put him there for now. He's my personal favorite point guard in the game, or my point guard that I think is the best. Again, this is just my personal opinion. I think Jimmy Butler is better than Ben, is better than LaMelo, is better than Magic. I've got him at that GOAT tier. John Wall, I'm going to put at C tier. I really rate John Wall highly, especially for a budget point guard at this stage of my team. I'm not trying to just sit here and gas him. I really do like John Wall. I really do rate him highly. The problem is, he's only 6'4". And at this stage of my team, C tier is about as high as I can go with him. Jonathan Bender up next. Call me crazy. I don't care. He's GOAT tier. You can call me crazy all you want. Say I'm hyping him up. I don't care. The card is worth his price. Then there's not many cards for that much that I would say are worth their price. He's going for what, about 150K? He's worth it. The card is GOAT tier, the best small forward in the game. He's better than Bill Russell. He's better than Purvis Ellison. The best small forward in the game. He is deserving of GOAT tier. KG up next. I mean, at this stage of my team, he's B tier. People ask me all the time, Ty, is KG worth grinding? I mean, if you want to. I don't know what to sell you. You're going to make some MT stuff like that. Worth the grind, I don't know. But he is really solid for a free card in my team. Big Bron up next. I'm going to go A tier with Berg. No, I'm going to put Giannis at A tier too. It's that simple. Both those cards are really, really good. They deserve A tier. Giannis, Bron, still really, really solid in my team. Lonzo Ball. At the time I'm recording this, I'm actually trying to get him to do a gameplay of him. I don't know if by this time Lonzo's gameplay might be out. I guess I'm going to put him at... I'm going to put him at B tier. And if he impresses me, he impresses me. I don't think he's going to be as good as Lonzo or as good as LaMelo, Magic, or Ben, though. All those cards are taller or they've got a better release. Lonzo might be a pleasant surprise, but I really highly doubt it. Yao Ming up next, GOAT tier. I don't make the rules. He is in that GOAT tier. Oscar up next. I really do like Oscar. He's going to go B tier for me, though, because, look, I just think LaMelo, Magic, and Ben are better. They're just taller. And that is what makes the difference for me. Banchero up next. I'm going to go C tier with Banchero because I like him more than MPJ. I'm not in love with Banchero in my team. Scotty Barnes, I'm going to go C tier. Better than Draymond. I think he is that Şengün type of level, though, in my team. Scottie Pippen is A tier. Okay? Small at the shooting guard position. He's B tier. Look, he's wherever Vince is. Okay? I mean, it's that simple. Some people can argue A tier. I'm putting him at A tier. To me, he's better than Vince. That's just my opinion. I think he gives you more on the court. Big Shaq up next. B tier. I mean, he's got a 63 ball. You can't even... I don't even think you can make the case Shaq is A tier. And that is sad considering he and Lonzo are both B tier and they were supposed to be the hype guys we got yesterday. Taco Fall, GOAT tier. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'll say this. There's not a guy I hate playing more than Taco Fall in my team. And if that doesn't tell you guys all you need to know, I don't know what will. Like, I legitimately hate playing him more than everybody else probably combined in my team because he's just a matchup nightmare at that power forward position. He's an absolute nightmare to play against. Card definitely deserves GOAT tier. And I mean, if you have Taco, trust me, you're in good hands. Tim Thomas at this stage of the game, B tier. I mean, you can still use Tim Thomas and have some effectiveness, but he's just not that good anymore in my team. And Tyler Hero, I'm sorry, right? He's C tier. I do apologize because he was way better than I thought he would be, though. So this is my best overall tier list in my team. Again, if I left off your favorite card, I'm sorry. I tried to get mostly everybody in here on this tier list, though. Hopefully that you guys don't cook me down below in the comments. But again, there's only a certain amount of GOAT people. And honestly, I only want 5 up there. And I don't think Jimmy Butler deserves it. That's going to wrap it up for my video today, guys. Drop a like on it. Subscribe if you are new. And as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.